Author origin story. Um, I've always enjoyed English. I'm an English teacher and a PE teacher. That's my trade. But I've always kind of done short stories and written. But when my daughter was born, a few months after she was born, she didn't sleep very well, and I used to walk her in the rental room in the dark for a very long time, hours on end. And when you're that sleep deprived, you just kind of, I daydream to kind of pass the time and keep myself awake. And I started daydreaming a lot, night dreaming, and I love an underdog story. And I really
Mm-hmm.
wanted to come. I was coming up with an idea. What would be the most underdog thing? Having a kid that would be used as bait, live bait for hunting sea monsters was my premise there. And over time, I thought up an opening for a novel, and I thought of how to do a finale, and I wanted to know the process for in between. And so I took it up. That was my hobby. That was a way of past time. And so I thought, I've just finished reading The Lies of Locke and Mora by Scott Lynch. I really like that. I really like roguish characters with charm that don't rely upon brawn to kind of overcome their issues. They've got to think their way out of things.
Uh-huh.
And so I thought I'll just start writing and see where it goes. And I did, and I probably got about 100 or so pages in, and life got busy. So Bub number two came along in 2018, and I put the book on the back burner. And so I thought, oh, I'll just sit there, no worries. And then I had a health scare shortly after, and with the health scare, I thought, yeah, if I drop tomorrow, what are my kids going to remember me by? And there was a great Andy Warhol quote that, you know how quotes sometimes find you.
Yeah.
You
Uh-huh.
just come across them at the right time. I read a Andy Warhol quote that was, the idea isn't to last forever, but to create something that will. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought I could work on this book that I was writing on, and if I got it finished, when my kids miss me when I'm gone, they can pick it up, and it's like Dad's reading the story again. And all the messages that I want to pass on to them could be kind of woven into the storylines. And so it's not so overt, but it's there. It's an influence, inspiration. And so I picked the book up and I read it again, and I was like, if I like it, I'm going to continue it. And I did. I really liked it. It was a story that I wanted to write for me and my kids. I didn't think about target audiences. I didn't think about much beyond the kids that I was helping with at school and helping them to learn to read. Like I was often encouraging kids to read John Flanagan's The Ranger's Apprentice and stuff like that. Kids that liked fantasy but were having a hard time finding something to help them with their English skills. And so I thought, well, heck, I'll keep this going. And I did. I knuckled in. I learned. I put way more effort. I shouldn't say this. I put way more effort into honing my craft as a writer and learning about how to be a better writer than I did into my own uni degree. I reckon I was just every time I was driving, I was listening to Hello Future Me, which is Timothy Hickson, and I was listening to Brandon Sanderson lectures, and I was reading about from stuff written by Douglas Adams and John Marsden about writing and stuff like some really old books as well. And so I was applying that to my craft, and over time I got it done. And I had a mate at school who was very good English teacher, the best English teacher I've ever come across. Um, and I said, "You reckon you'd mind critiquing my work and tell me if I've got something here, or because he was also quite brutally honest." And he said, "Yeah, dude, just pass it over and I'll give it a look over." And he critiqued it, and he got another lady who used to be a critique partner for a thriller writer, Leslie, and she read it. And she called me up and we had a 2 hour conversation about the whole thing. And she was that pumped. She says, "You need to pursue this. This is good." And so that that doubt that I had in my head, like, can I make this work, subsided enough for me to actually, okay, beta is professional edit. I'll save up and do that myself and throw my hat in the ring. And so I did that. I threw my hat in the ring a few times with traditional publishers that were taking unsolicited manuscripts. And I did all right with, I think, with New Dawn over in Perth, but it's a slow process as
Mm-hmm.
well. And so um, I'm quite impatient. I told you I hate impatience, but after a year and a half or 2 years of waiting on feedback, you kind of get a bit, I don't know, things happen. So my mum passed away last year, and I went. She didn't get to read it because I didn't get it done in time.
Mm.
So I thought, you know what, stuff it. I'm going to knuckle down and do it myself. And so I educated myself on how to self-publish, and I went through that process. And that's how it came to be. So 8th November last year, it was released.